Hey guys, what's up? Here I am again at Grand Archives. I promise my next video will be somewhere different. I just keep coming back here. The more I learn about this level, the more fun I've been having. Saint Wright actually said something. So Don Peridome posted a very nice Reddit article. It's a series that he does, and he posted something about my channel, and he's done a number of posts of other channels as well. And Saint made a comment along the lines of, if you're a duelist looking to make the transition to invasions, my channel is one you ought to watch. My channel, meaning my channel, iamamish's channel, not Saint's channel. And it really got me thinking. I thought it was a really sage observation because, in a lot of respects, I'm really not an invader's invader. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to come up with the nifty cat ring route through a level to get in front of a group, using bow, using kind of all the tricks at my disposal. I'm much more melee focused. In fact, you can kind of view a lot of my invasions as a series of duels, and of course I'm trying to split people up so I can get them one-on-one, because that's really the only way you can fight people. Fighting more than one at a time is so difficult. And there he hit me with a lightning urn, and I don't know if this is something I've talked about before, but if you have a build that's a faith build, or even you have, like, let's say 15 faith or so, you should definitely make sure you're giving lightning urns a good look, because they can do a lot of damage. On a build that's primarily faith, you can easily hit people for 300 and 400 damage points with a single lightning urn, and you can carry 20 at a time, unlike the black fire bombs where you're limited to 10. But anyway, what he said about my channel, I thought was a really good insight. And so I'm really focusing right now on trying to take advantage of the different types of things that invaders would normally do, not just playing things straight up. I don't know that you'll see a lot of the impact here today, but it's something that I'm working on, and you'll certainly see in future videos. So there I try to time coming out after the seed deactivates, and I was pretty accurate. And I've actually thought about having a timer of sorts so that when somebody activates a seed, I know right when the 45 seconds has elapsed, and I can use it to drag in AI. And this guy's being so predictable about his parrying, which makes it really easy for me to punish him. Plus, he doesn't have a lot of health, so the whiffs are really costing him. He's still trying it. Don't understand that. So I see this guy get out his shield, and one thing I've learned is that parry kings tend to travel in packs, so I'm really wary of this guy trying to parry me. Something else you're going to see today is I talked in my last video about Tears of Denial, and this build I think is like soul level 92-ish. And I obviously have Tears of Denial, so I had to spend about 10 points to get the necessary attunement and faith, which is pretty costly. I mean, that's like 10% of my total levels, and I could definitely be using those elsewhere. And I've just been thinking about whether I want to keep it or not, and making this video today really cemented it for me, because I make a couple of really boneheaded mistakes, and Tears of Denial really saves me. I think at least 3 occasions in the clips you'll see here today. So I have sometimes a bad habit of not taking people seriously, or trying to put a lot of pressure on people, because I know this guy's got Way of Blue equipped, and I don't want more police showing up. There was one that got summoned earlier, but they never showed up, and I'm not sure what happened to them. But I'm just trying to put tons of pressure on this guy to keep him from healing. And in the process, I'm not really paying sufficient attention to my own health. I go for the parry, and I had the right time, or I had the right idea, but my timing was just off. I think I talked about this in another video. Great swords, for whatever reason, parrying out a stun. I sometimes have difficulty with the timing. I think I needed to be probably about 4 frames later on that. But there, Tears of Denial saved me in what is obviously an eminently winnable fight. And if I had just been giving a little bit more attention to my health, it wouldn't have even been an issue. This guy's using a lot of rolling attacks for somebody with a parry shield, especially after he's already been parried. I've got a little new taunt I'm working on. It works better with like a Karthus or a curved greatsword, where I just kind of like jiggle the controller and the character just jitters back and forth. With the right weapon, it actually looks really silly. I need some sort of like signature taunt that only I have, or that other people copy from me. It's still kind of a work in progress, as you can see. Another change I made to these characters is I started bringing an extra Ash and Estus, so that if my tears do get popped, I can reapply at one time. And that seems like, I think, probably the right amount, because I've been paying a lot more attention lately to like how often do I actually die with Estus on me, versus how often am I empty. And it definitely happens where I'm empty, but it is really, really rare. It probably happens in fewer than 5% of my invasions. And there I kind of got frustrated, because in a couple cases, like, I could have killed this guy twice, but I ran out of stamina. Unfortunately, this guy's got really low stamina, and here I make a mistake. I didn't see the host coming around the corner there, and he pops my tears, and obviously without Tears of Denial, this invasion's over. A lot of times against like large gank squads, your tears will pop, but it never really saves you. And here I look back behind me and I didn't see anyone, and unfortunately, because the host is wearing such dark colored clothing, he blended in. So I'm really having a tough time with these guys getting away to safely heal. But you know, against a gank squad, your tears will pop, but a lot of times it won't save you. So my measure of the success of this is the percentage of times where it pops and I come back to win the invasion, which actually happens quite a bit. I would say probably 60 to 70% of the time that it gets popped, I still am able to pull out a victory. I'm just not sure what's up with this guy's Vigor. That's a big difference between these soul level 90-ish invasions and lower versus like 120 and beyond. When you get to soul level 120, the builds are pretty well set. And not only are they set, but they're generally set by players who have an idea on how to build a character. So you're not going to run into somebody with 20 Vig at soul level 120. It's actually really amusing at like lower soul levels, 50, 60, 70. You run into players that I swear haven't upgraded their Vig at all. I think Nif used to talk about the 27 Vig meta, how a lot of people thought that that was the optimum amount of Vigor, and in some ways it is. It's the soft cap, I think. The returns to Vigor start to drop quite a bit after soul level 27, but just because the returns to each point are less than they were previously doesn't mean that the returns are so low that you should stop updating it. And this actually here is my soul level, I think 120 or 130 character. And so I switch between the Drakeblood sword with Darkmoon Blade, and then I've got a dark infused Lothric Knight Sword. So a lot of times I'll start off with a buff great sword, and then when the buff runs out, I can switch to the straight sword. Man, these dark infused Lothric Knight Swords are really the shit. Sometime, if you haven't done this, take like a dark infused Lothric Knight straight sword, put on a Hornet Ring, and parry one of the silver black knights and take the riposte. And you just do redonko damage. I mean, like 1,500 points of damage. It's crazy. Obviously, I've got these gankers on my ass, so I'm trying to get away. And I've actually kind of developed a new strat. I'm sure other people have been doing this long before, so it's just new to me. But this perch here with the obscuring ring on, they can't see you. And you can, if there's like a tardy party member coming up from behind, they're not expecting you, so you can get a plunging attack there. Unfortunately, the weapons I have aren't liable to kill somebody straight out, so it's not worth trapping myself back there. But I will go for a plunging attack here and get quite a bit of damage on this guy. And unfortunately, I almost kill him. But it's good that I didn't try, because I almost certainly would have been killed. I've gotten a lot better about retreating. Retreating is something that I didn't really used to do very much of, but living and fighting another day has been really helpful. Actually, I started working on a video. I got as far as actually editing it and making commentary, but I didn't really have anything useful to say about it, so it's just kind of sitting there unused. I may eventually release it. We'll have to see. I'll talk a bit about it here in just a moment. So this guy has some pretty rotten luck. He gets trapped between two thralls, me, and one of those wax mages. And I'm sure any invader has been in that situation numerous times, where you back into a corner where you're surrounded by a bunch of people and you just start rolling and you don't go anywhere. That is just the worst feeling. But this other video I was working on, I was really curious to see how other invaders invade and how they deal with gank squads and co-opers. And obviously, you know, I watch the same streams you guys do. I watch Saint Riot. I watch guys like Platinum. But, you know, these guys are outliers, right? These guys are so much better than the majority of invaders are. Same with the other folks in the stream, right? Like, I see how Sir Grey Fox invades, or Pincognito, or Makoto. But these guys are all really good. So I wanted to see how the typical invader dealt with these. So I started putting my summon sign down, my co-op sign. You know, just to kind of see like who'd summon me, how things would go, would we get invaded, by whom, what sort of strats and techniques would the invaders use. And it was actually kind of interesting, and I did get some valuable information out of it, and I just barely caught that guy for the riposte. I just didn't feel like there was enough of interest to justify putting out a video with commentary. So we'll see. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get some more co-ops going, and maybe I'll get enough footage that's interesting to justify making the video. I've gotten way better at roll catching with this weapon. But I will tell you that co-oping the Grand Archives and Dragonkin Mausoleum over the course of an evening or two was definitely an educational experience. And it was really interesting watching invaders use tactics on me in a group that I use on groups, and be able to see it working, even against me sometimes, even though I know what the tactics are. I had one invasion out here the other day, and it was a guy with like the Black Knight Greatsword, and he didn't equip a weapon. He just two-handed the shield, and I think he was just trying to annoy me. And basically all he did was just roll, 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 and for like 10-15 minutes this went on. And then eventually he put on Way of Blue, and I slaughtered like 5 or 6 blues, and then eventually he disconnected. It was one of the most annoying invasions. I was going to include it, but there was really no way that I could convey the frustration, and there wasn't anything really interesting to watch. I sometimes see invaders make the mistake of going out here into this sort of arena and fighting. And obviously, if it's a lone host, then absolutely you should go ahead and do that. And it's kind of funny, actually. I've been playing with dried finger runs a lot more lately, so when I get invaded, I'm not right by the bonfire. I'm actually out in the level like a normal host would be, with varying amounts of Estus, so I don't necessarily have a clear advantage over the invader. And I would say the majority of invaders, 90 to 95%, are like me. If it's a solo host, you're just going to go up and get right into it with them. But there's like 5% or so that frankly are just complete pussies. They don't want to fight. And I don't mean like, some invaders like invading, they like, harassing from a distance, using bows, doing different things, schwas like that. And while that's not normally my style, I totally respect that as an invasion approach. The guys I'm talking about, they just flat out don't want to fight you. They want to try to just let the PvE do all the work. And I have a really hard time relating to that. And I think it's styles like that that kind of give invaders a bad name all the way around. Not to suggest that you can't or shouldn't invade like that, I guess. I just think it's kind of a cheesy way to invade. And here, I've got another invader that joins me, and I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get around on the other side of them and do kind of I guess you call it like a pincher movement. And here, I'm not sure how that first guy hit me, but he sets me up for the roll catch with the Dragon Slayer axe, and I nearly bite it there. But you just cannot fight a crew out there in that arena. There's too many of them. They can't hit each other. It's very difficult to get out. That guy got trapped. The same thing would have happened to me. So that was just not the right place to fight these guys. But now that it's just me, they're pursuing me with considerable vigor, which is the right way to do it. I mean, if you're going to try to kill an invader with a large group, this is the right way to do it. They should actually be putting me under even more pressure. I'm desperate to get to some place where I can kind of make a stand and create a choke point, maybe with some PvE, and take these guys on kind of one at a time. So I see it looks like I may have an opportunity coming up here. I've just got the Sun Bro. The host wanders into. People really underestimate the danger of this area. Those thralls can mess you up really fast. The wax can prevent you from rolling. There's people casting magic. There's other thralls that throw bombs. Charging through that area is not smart. So here at the end, I have just a couple of bonus clips. I've got a soul level 36 character that I keep around for low level invasions. But then the other nice thing about him is that if like Saint's invading somewhere with a new like soul level 65 character, boom, I make a backup of this guy, upgrade him to whatever soul level Saint's invading at, and then I can match with him wherever he is. And so I think he was recording some invasions, and I think that's why I'm here. Probably at soul level 71, if I recall correctly. Been playing around with the Flamberge. I would describe it, I guess, overall as a pretty average greatsword. It has bleed built in, which is kind of nice. I mean, with the nerf to Karthus Rouge, unless you have a weapon that has some form of innate bleeding, Karthus Rouge is almost worthless. I mean, the only other way I could see it making sense is if you're with a group of people and other people have bleed weapons, so maybe you contribute just a little bit of additional bleed. And I've got two casters that both seem reasonably competent melee fighters, which is a very dangerous sort of situation. But the only thing I've got going in my favor at the moment is that they both seem to have low vigor. So all I have to do is hit one of them with a 1-2 combo, and then they have to roll out and heal, which gives me a few precious seconds of one-on-one time with the other player. That was a nice catch. Really, the only mistake these guys were making, they were being just a little too transparent in their pursuits, so I was able to frequently intercept them with my hyper armor weapon. But these were both competent players. I haven't been thinking about it a lot lately, but I noticed that the more I play against groups, the more time I spend unlocked. Usually, though, when I actually go to swing my weapon, and not even just for the swing, but in the moments before I lock on. But I've been watching guys like Platinum 7 who play so much unlocked, and I see the advantages that it gives him. Um, it makes me think that I need to do more of that. I'm surprised he fell for those roll catches like that. He definitely had some idea of what he was doing. So this is the last fight that I included. It just ended up being kind of a cool little duel with a guy with a ultra great sword. One thing I should mention, I think I alluded to it briefly earlier. Ultra great weapons are weapons that I typically have not played with historically. And the primary reason is because I come from a dueling background, and in duels, ultra great weapons are almost useless. Trying to win a duel with an ultra great weapon is like tying one of your hands behind your back. You can certainly do it, but if you play against a player that's of a similar skill level, they will almost certainly destroy you. And so I never really tried those weapons. But then I started thinking about it, and I've seen guys like Saint and Platinum and some others use ultra greats, and I know in invasions they typically perform quite a bit better. And there's a guy by the name of Game Economist, and he's got a lot of really nifty videos. If you haven't checked him out, you really should. He does a lot of analysis of weapons, and one of the things I really like about the format is he'll show some clips of both dueling and invading, and then he'll give the weapon a rating both for duels and for invasions. And as you might imagine, those ratings can be very different from one another. Some weapons lend themselves very well to duels, but not so much invasions, and vice versa. And he was talking about weapons like the Dark Great Sword, the Dark Great Club, and I thought, I really need to give these a try. So I created my first strength build. He's got like 60 strength. He's soul level 120. And oh my god, man, I have not done much actual invading yet. I've been summoned quite a bit as a Dark Moon Blade, but I've just been absolutely ripping people apart. And the realization that I had is that most players really don't understand hyper armor, and not at all. Like, they don't get it. They'll just come right up and start swinging with their straight swords when you've got a big, heavy hyper armor weapon like that, and it lets you just tear them apart. So I'll be having some videos coming up with my gameplay. I've already got some videos recorded. I need some more material, but I'll have something coming out. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's going to start really changing the way that I play this game. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. Thanks so much for checking in. Take care now.